Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the walkthrough. It is time for Shadow Keep. So as you know by now, for sure, if you've been watching these videos, there are a couple of entrances to Shadow Keep, depending on if you went the Bonnie Village route over this way to the east, or if you just came straight up through the front door. The eastern route will get you to a separate section over here called Church District, and we're gonna do the Church District side first, but we can get a couple of fragments from the boss right by the front door and get another Shadow Tree blessing level from it, so we're just going to do that first. Whichever place you start, they both link up in the middle in this section called the Storehouse, so it really does not matter which side you do first. And I'm probably going to end up splitting this episode. Well, it won't be split in half for you guys, but I don't think I have time to do the whole thing in one sitting today, so if my voice just changes randomly in the middle of the video, that's why. Two different sessions, but you can summon Freya and Hornsent for this fight. You don't have to for either of their quest lines. They're just there if you want them. And as for the fight itself, this thing's pretty weak to fire and lightning, so either of those are good options. The hardest part with this fight is going to be the camera. The second hardest part is some of his attacks, mainly the slams and grabs, have just way bigger hitboxes than you would think they have, which is made worse by the fact that you just can't see what's happening to begin with half the time. Summoning does a lot to address those issues. If you can actually see what you're doing, honestly, the fight's pretty straightforward. In general, though, I would advise trying to stay either comfortably in front of its head, so, you know, you're not, like, clipping into it when you're trying to attack, or to its, like, sides and back of its body, just to avoid the head at all costs, basically, because if you're in front of it, the boss just likes to basically lay down on top of you, and your camera, it's going to start clipping and freaking out. It's just horrible. So let's get in here. When it starts, it's always going to start with this grab attack. For this first one, since it's so far away, you can just run. Okay, never mind. It works 99% of the time, but when I sit down and turn on the fucking recording. Alright, I got in there, was not doing any damage at all, and I realized that I forgot to switch back my affinity on my sword from holy to lightning, so we're gonna do that. Lean into the boss's weaknesses, and then we'll get in there. So every time the fight starts, it's gonna do this running grab attack. Since it starts in the opposite corner of the arena for this first one, you should be able most of the time to avoid it. At least like 90%, you might have to roll at the end. If not, literally completely avoid it just by running to the side. So that's kind of nice. From this point on, it's going to start a lot closer to you when it goes to the grab attack. So you usually want to, there we go, run away a little bit and then roll into it when it kind of like lunges at the end of it. It's what works best for me. Now, usually, like I said, I like to stand a little ways back from its front, and I don't usually like to lock onto it, because you can see the lock-on is like in its neck. So because it obviously like can swing its head without, you know, its neck coming with it, that doesn't really make any sense, but hopefully you know what I mean. That's just not useful, because its head is not going to be in the same place as its neck, and we want to be hitting into its head. So like I said, usually I like to not lock on, and you can see the camera in this fight is just abysmal. It's, if you're not outright like clipping into its head, you're still just getting pushed around and can't really see what's going on. Likes to do this little 2 slam combo. Swing at you with the horn on its nose. Going into phase 2 now, it gets all these golden quills. When it slams now, it'll rain down those quills from the sky. Roll a couple times usually to avoid that pretty easily. Try running away from it too. Grab attack, run away a little bit, then roll into it. It's really slow when it starts the actual like charge for that, so I don't like to just roll into it right off the beginning of the animation. Usually doesn't work out very well for me. Got this rolling thing. I'm gonna drink this, get a little more lightning damage going. tentacles going everywhere. Really, not a fan of this fight whatsoever, I gotta be honest. Got that stagger there we go. Followed up with the crit. Oh, some lightning incantations would do decent here too. Standing in water and just naturally weak to lightning as well. And down it goes. Feel free to summon for that one. I know I did the first time I came through here because it was like, it's not even a hard boss. It's just bad, you know, so is what it is. We get the Aspect of the Crucible, Thorns incantation, and 2 Shadow Tree fragments. Make sure you touch the Grace, and we'll rest up and cash in those fragments. We should have 2 there. 1 from Stone Coffin Fissure in the last episode, which should be enough to get us to Blessing level 12. So, with that... oh, also, by the way, if you'd forgotten, Blessing level 12 is the soft cap for Shadow Tree Blessings. We've gotten between 5 and 10% increases to our damage multiplier up to this point. From here on out, it's going to be like 2 to 3% increases in damage every time we increase our Blessing level. At level 12, where we're at right now, we're sitting at a 1.85 times damage multiplier, and the damage we receive is multiplied by 0.54. By the time we max out our Blessing level at 20, we'll be at a 2.05 times damage multiplier, and damage received will be multiplied by 0.487. So we definitely will still be getting stronger by the end of the DLC, but not an insane amount. So to the point I made earlier in the walkthrough, the upgrade, or sorry, in the first walkthrough episode specifically, the upgrades are smaller for the later Blessing levels, so if you don't feel like following a 100% walkthrough in subsequent playthroughs to make sure you collect every last one of the 50 Shadow Tree fragments, just know that as long as you get most of them, you won't be losing out on too much power in the end. They do also carry over in the New Game Plus though, so that's more of an issue for actually like fresh characters who have not been through it before. Now then, like I said, we're going to be doing Church District first, so warp over here to Church District High Road. We'll run northwest in this tunnel that we ignored before. And this place is going to be flooded at first, so we're just going to kind of like run around and platform a little bit here and grab some items on our way to the lever that drains the place. And again, if you're playing through in the future and not following this walkthrough, just remember that you can go either way after you fight the hippo. Don't even have to fight the hippo first, but there's an exit from that boss room to go straight into Shadow Keep, and you can also go from this side. Both ways are going to meet up in the storehouse in the middle. It's really up to you. Not important what order you do it in. So grab that Grace, jump down on this roof. Some crab eggs, bones, and then run all the way to the south. Some strips of white flesh, jump over this log up here. Just gonna make our way over to the other side of this like circular stone thing. Gets a great Grave Glovewort, and honestly, Pro Strat might be to just wart back. I don't think I've ever done this. I think I always just run back and risk dying on every single one of those jumps, and that is obviously more dangerous and probably actually slower, so we're doing it this way for the walkthrough. Jump over here to this wall carefully. These guys are gonna explode when they get near you, so you can fight them, but take a while to get up, so I usually just run past them. Fireproof pickle liver there. A couple more of these guys here, just run past them. I don't think they can even jump over here. It's not looking good for them, so anyway, Fire Knight up here. There's no way that I just one-shot him. That's insane. I love this weapon so much. 3 Embers of Messmer, right around the corner to the right here, Slumbering Egg. And then jump over here to this thing. Ulcerated Tree Spirit pops out. Unfortunately, there's not a sea monster down there. Would have been a lot cooler if it was anything else. Drop down in here. Climb up this other ramp over here to reach a corpse with some Stormhawk feathers. And you can drop down here. And there's a corpse, lightning proof pickled liver. And then over here in the northeast corner, there's this door here. If you have killed Fire Knight's Queeline, the invader, at both locations, those being Church of the Crusade and Shadow Altus and Ballarat Tower settlements, then you should have the prayer room key. So go up to this door and you can open it, and then you find the actual Fire Knight Queeline in here. And after some dialogue, you'll have the option to give him either the Iris of Occultation or the Iris of Grace if you have it. We have not picked up an Iris of Grace yet, but we will in this episode. I touched on this briefly in the Shadow Altus episode, but I'll go over it again here because it's a little confusing. There are 2 NPCs that you can give the Irises to, Fire Knight Queeline here, and Yolan, who is that knight in black armor over in the Cathedral of Messmer. If you give either of them an Iris of Occultation, you'll get their weapon, and if you give them an Iris of Grace, you'll get their Spirit Ashes. For Fire Knight Queeline, you'll get the Fire Knight Queeline Ashes if you go the Iris of Grace route, or you get Queeline's Greatsword if you give the Iris of Occultation, which is actually not a great sword. It's a heavy thrusting sword. It scales with strength, dexterity, and faith. It does split physical and fire damage. Now, here's the confusing part. There are actually 2 Iris of Graces and 2 Irises of Occultation that you can get in a single playthrough, so you should be able to get all the rewards, right? Unfortunately not. You can only give each NPC 1 Iris per playthrough, so you have to do 2 playthroughs to get all the rewards here. The good news is that you can get both weapons or both ashes in one playthrough, so you have like total freedom over which rewards you want to get. If you want to do that by just giving them both the same kind of Iris. I'm just going to wait on this myself, but if you know for sure that you want Queeline's Greatsword, then you can give them the Iris of Occultation right now. There's nothing else quest related with this NPC. So you're good. And again, we'll get another Iris of Occultation and a couple Irises of Grace, so you can pick either reward from the other NPC later too. We're going to go back out here to this flooded room right before that hall with the Fire Knight. Cut in here to the left. Room of an unsung hero. And we'll kill the Fire Knights. These guys, you can farm them for their armor too. It looks pretty cool. Couple more Embers of Messmer. Should be another Fire Knight around the corner. Take them out. And then in this room up ahead, once we drain the water, there will be an elevator here, but nothing for us right now. And then in this last little exit on the right, if you're coming from the way we just were, you can make the jump and land on this arm of the statue and get that. It's a Shadow Tree fragments, but if you miss, you'll instantly die because you'll fall in the water. And we just got an upgrade to our blessing level, which means we'll need 2 more for another level anyway. So you can just wait until we drain the water to be safe. And there's also a grace coming up in like 2 seconds. So instead, just go across the way, across this bridge here. Up the lift, just gonna take quite a while. And as I said earlier, even though we went the church district route first, but both ways are going to link up to the storehouse here eventually. As you can see, get a somber smithing stone 9 there, and then go left to the grace. And I'm going to activate it so we can warp back to it later, but I'm not going to rest just yet. Otherwise you'll have to fight through those Fire Knights again. You can if you want to, but instead, I'm just going to go right back down the lift, and we'll go finish up Church District. Okay, so now that we're back down here, go back over to the hallway where the Fire Knights were, and then if we backtrack a little ways, there was another exit over here to the right, another bridge we can cross. So we'll go over here. There's going to be a couple bats around the corner. Up the stairs and watch out for the little gap in the floor. More bats here. And then ignore that doorway, go up the ladder. And push the lever. That's going to play a cutscene where the water gets drained from Shadow Keep, so we can reach the rest of Church District. Now, depending on your health situation, you have a couple options here. If you need a grace sooner rather than later, there's one right down there. To get to it, just drop down this ladder over here. Drop down into here, go out that door down there, and just outside of the right, you can reach that grace. If you have enough health, though, for one last fight, we're instead going to go this way and just keep watching here. We'll link up with that grace in just a second, so you'll see what to do if you decide to go that way. Won't be missing out on anything here. But we're going to come in here and try to make this jump to the statue. Shadow Tree Fragment, as promised, drop down behind the statue. Fire Knight Seal, and then there's like a little bit stronger Fire Knight here. It summons all these guys. Just be careful here. Let them do their thing. And that one always drops the Death Mask Helm. Dying or getting up? A little bit of both, alright. So, yeah, anyways. Outside, well, I'll show you this first. So if you missed that jump, you can take this elevator right here. And this was the room I pointed out earlier. Elevator once the water is drained. And you can try the jump again if you did miss it. Otherwise, whenever you are ready, you can just go straight out this front door here. Immediately go right. Try not to go down into the courtyard right now. Right now. Cannot speak right now. And then in this building right here is the grace I pointed out earlier. So we will grab that. And then over here to the left, just so we're all synced up no matter which route you took, you drop down from up there where the lever was. Somber Smithing Stone 5 right here. Obviously, that's how you get to the grace from that way. Over here to the northwest, we got one more corpse to pick up. Well-pickled turtleneck. And, of course, if you did drop down through there instead of going the statue route like I did, you would just want to run over here, go in that building, deal with the Fire Knight, or don't, and then go up the elevator to make the jump to the Shadow Tree Fragments. And with that, we should all be on the same page. So once all that's taken care of, come over here and you're going to spawn in an ulcerated tree spirit. That's what we like to see. That not so much. And down it goes. So I'll get you the Mantle of Thorn sorcery. Right behind the tree in the middle, we got a Somber Smithing Stone 5. Then directly southeast, see a crab there with a corpse next to it. The corpse has a couple crab eggs, but a big crab is going to pop out if you go for it, so I'm just going to leave it alone, but it is there if you want. Over here, got a couple more little crabs. Ghost Glovewort 1. And you can rest to the grace if you need to. Whether you rest or not, next thing we're going to do is from that grace go northeast over to these stairs. And then this elevator right here will actually take you up to the church district entrance. So once you drain the water, you can also start from over here. There's a lot of different like paths. There's no right or wrong way to do this whole area. There's just so many shortcuts and different routes you can take, just personal preference. But you know, whenever you play through this again, if you're not watching this walkthrough, just want to point out all this stuff for you. You might remember it next time. Go whichever way your heart desires. But we'll go northwest from there. Around the corner we'll spawn in another ulcerated tree spirit. Unfortunate. Can't get a stagger on this one. Or see what I'm doing at all. Alright, down it goes. Harder than it needed to be. And that one will give us another Iris of Occultation. A couple corpses out here, rod of fruits, some string in this building to the west. One more corpse with some crab eggs, and then you can go into the northeast building. Smithing stone 4s, and some kukri throwing knives, and then can't mount torrents. Don't know why I tried. Backtrack a little ways towards that last elevator I pointed out. And then into this building over here. A whole lot of crabs to deal with. What if I sneak up on you? I like that. I like how that plan worked out. Shadow Realm Rune 5 that they were guarding. Some more crab eggs that dropped. More still. And then with that, we're pretty much done with this area. So we can go back to this big building that had the Fire Knight and all the exploding guys in it. And if you didn't earlier, go ahead and deal with them now. And make sure you check behind the statue for, what was it called? Fire Knight Seal? Yeah. And then, of course, the elevator over here. If you need to go up and try that jump again for the fragments. Over here in the southern corner, southeastern corner, I guess. Some shadow sunflowers, and we are good here. So if you're in here and you're facing the statue, we're going to turn right and go northeast through this passageway. Up the stairs to get the Battlefield Priest Cookbook 1, drop down, open up these doors. and down the lift. I don't know why, I'm sure there's tons of places in here, just like, how do we explain all that water being there for so long? But every time I open these doors and go down this elevator, I'm just like imagining water seeping through here constantly. Just like, where does it go? Grab the Grace here, and then go through this cave. Across the bridge, not much fighting to happen. What? That didn't make any sense. We got this big statue with an Iris of Grace in front of it, so now that we have both types, feel free to go back to Fire Knight Queeline whenever you want at this point to give him the Iris of Occultation if you want the weapon, or the Iris of Grace if you want the Spirit Ashes. If you want rewards from Yolan, you'll have to wait a bit longer since we want to keep working on her and Ymir's questline, but again, like I said earlier, you'll have 2 of each Iris at the end of this walkthrough, and you can only get 1 reward from each NPC per playthrough, so you might as well go get something from Queeline, even if you don't think you'll use it anytime soon. But grab the America's Rune there, Grace, and up ahead is the boss. So this is the Erdtree Avatar, definitely one of the most unique bosses FromSoft has made. I'm a big fan of it personally. If you can avoid using magic or holy damage against this boss, that would be ideal. It's okay if that's the only thing you have. I'll explain more about that in a second. Lightning damage does okay, but this boss is extremely weak to fire damage. So if you recall the first episode of the DLC walkthrough, I recommended keeping a standard weapon around that you could swap the affinity for anytime. If you're like me, you've probably just been using that weapon for holy damage since there's so many good opportunities for that. But this would actually be a great time to throw on a Fire Ash of War at the very least. But if you have a lot of points in Strength or Faith, you could go a step further and give it a Fire or Flame Art Affinity too, whichever makes more sense for your build. If not, just a standard affinity with a fire-based weapon buff would be good too, some Fire Grease or something. In that same vein, any Fire or Frenzied Flame incantations are going to tear this boss apart if you can land them on its head, which leads me to my next point. This boss has quite a bit of health, but if you hit it in its head, it does a ton of extra damage, especially if that damage is fire damage. That being said, it is easier said than done to consistently hit the head since it moves around so much, at least in melee, but it does like to give you an opening after it finishes most of its attack combos, which is a good incentive to try to stay close to it throughout the fight if you can. So to my point a second ago about avoiding holy and magic damage, it's definitely not the end of the world if that's what your build revolves around, because the extra damage you deal to the boss's head, that just multiplier you get, should offset the inherent damage negation it has to those damage types, so it'll probably feel like you're doing normal damage, honestly, as long as you hit it in the head and not the stem. Also, if you're a caster using magic or holy damage, you can lock onto its head, so you'll make up for the damage penalty with being able to easily and reliably hit its weak spot with projectiles. I think for me, I might go with either Flame of the Redmanes or Flaming Strike here. Probably Flame of the Redmane. Kind of like that this one coats your weapon in fire. And then I have way more points in Faith than Strength, so I'm going to go Flame Art personally. And then I will also switch out Rolana's cameo for the Fire Scorpion Charm. Now before we go in, I'm going to fully explain the 3 phases of this boss fight, because it likes to start each new phase with whatever its new ability for that phase is, so I'm not really going to have much time to talk in there. So for phase 1, it's pretty straightforward. If you're far away, it likes to send out some kind of slow-ish thorny roots. There are 2 of them that come in separately, and the first one kind of lingers a bit, so it can be kind of hard to see the second one coming. It'll pretty much always start that fight with that attack on any subsequent attempts if you don't kill it first try, just because you spawn so far away from it. And on this first attempt, it's going to let you walk all the way up to it. Now once you deplete its health bar completely, it's going to get stunned and be open for a crit. If you land the crit, it's going to resurrect for phase 2 with only 75% health. Otherwise, if you just wait for a bit, or if you need to heal or something and you don't have time to get the crit, it will just get up on its own and revive with 100% health. Either way, it'll now be in phase 2, and it's always going to start phase 2 with a charge. It can repeat the charge up to 3 times from pretty much any distance. It can go, insanely far, so just plan on rolling through it. Now, every time the boss goes to the next phase, it keeps all of its old moves, gets new ones, and the fight pretty much just gets faster and more difficult. In phase 2, he'll also finish some combos with a move where it creates an area of thorns at the end of its final attack, at the end of its combos. So once again, you're just going to fight until the health bar is gone, hit it with a crit to make sure it only revives with 75% health, or else it's going to have a full health bar again for phase 3. When phase 3 starts, figure out where it's spawning and then run as far as you can in one direction away from it. It's going to charge up a huge explosion. The second you see the explosion go off, roll to the side because it will send out a ton of holy projectiles in all directions. Once you get to the end of phase 3, like around, I don't know, 20 to 30% of its health left, it can do the same explosion move 3 times in a row as like a kind of last-ditch effort to kill you, which often works, let's be honest. I guess because of that, if you're really struggling with that, could be worth throwing on some holy damage negation, Erdtree Talisman +2 or something. But let's get in there, be ready for the phase transitions, and try to focus attacks on its head for maximum damage. Also a little bit of a grab attack there, which I did not see coming at all. There's the thorns, second one to come out too. They also build up bleed, I forgot to mention that. This isn't going well, I'm not gonna lie. Always spins twice there. Great opportunity to hit him in the face. There's no way that missed, dude. His health is that low, you can just go for the stem. Then we get out in front, go for the crit, make sure it doesn't revive with full health. And it will fully despawn, so just be ready for it to like pop up underneath you, try to run in one direction so you can react to it. There you go. Usually you can get a little cheeky hit right here, but otherwise it's gonna go straight for the charge. 1, 2, 3. Thorns, 1, 2. And then here's another new move. It's going to send out these homing projectiles. It's usually like to roll the side. It can chain those up to like 3 times. There's the thorn explosion at the end of its combo that I mentioned. Also, you can see I'm hitting it in the stem, it just does like next to nothing. Really try to hit it in the head. Also gonna be perfectly honest with you guys, I totally forgot for Flaming Strike to work, you have to like attack again through the flames. For only hitting him one time, Flame of the Red Mains was definitely the option. The correct option. Going for the charge again. Going for all 3. Might try this out. One flask left. That going to phase 3. Remember, for phase 3 we want to watch out for that explosion the second it spawns, so be on your toes and ready to run. And then try to time the explosion with a roll to the side to avoid the projectile. I didn't do a great job of that. If you are somehow close, or you can have like a long range projectile cast, sort of just dies for a second after that explosion. So you can get a free hit if you're in position for it. That's tough, dude. That's real tough. Alright, well, our usual song and dance of me having an absolute god-awful attempt because I'm trying to explain the fight has happened once again, so we'll do our usual thing where we just lock in the second time and kill it. So that's the plan. I'm also going to switch off of Flaming Strike. Now, like I mentioned earlier, since we spawned so far away, it's pretty much always going to start with these thorns here, so gives you a little practice dodging them, which I obviously need. Spins. Hit in the face. It's the grab attack. Narrowly avoided it that time. Big AoE thorn thing. Almost projectiles. 1, 2. The last one just sends like twice as many, so you gotta roll twice, but dodge it the same way. If you get lucky and its head stays still, also the Flame of the Fell God incantation hits so hard it's not even funny. But it takes a second to detonate if you've used it before. All that. So sometimes the boss moves away too quickly. It's always weird just like switching Ash of Wars in the middle of a playthrough. Like Flame of the Red Mains is super straightforward to use, but I'm just not used to it. So there's the triple there. Unfortunately, the recovery is really not that much longer than the normal one, so can't get too much free damage off of that. Does not want me to get this last bit of damage. There we go. So you get the Remembrance of the Shadow Sunflower and Miquella's Great Rune, and make sure you find the Grace. So Miquella's Great Rune is sort of akin to the Purifying Crystal tier that we used from Mohg's boss fight, in that it is not required per se, but it helps immensely with surviving a like special attack in a fight later. Basically, if you get hit twice in one fight by the final boss's grab attack, it is an insta-kill without this item, which sounds awful. Realistically, it's not even really worth using in my opinion, because like the grab attack is the least of your worries with the final boss if you haven't fought it before, haven't seen any fights with it, and trying to just add an extra item to your inventory in that fight is really not the move. So you could and probably should just try to dodge the grab attack, but if you don't, you have this. And also the odds of the boss even like trying to grab you twice are like, it'll probably happen, I suppose, but it's not like something that you're gonna see probably 4 or 5 times in one fight, honestly. So, is what it is. But with that, we can warp back to the storehouse back section grace we got earlier. Once again, there's really no correct order for going through Shadow Keep, so you could totally go back to the front entrance now, start clearing it from there. You could start with that and then do storehouse, then save church district for last. It's really up to you. This is just how I'm choosing to do it. Alright, we are back with part 2 of the recording. See if you can hear the voice change, probably, I don't know. I'll find out when I edit this. Let's fix up this sword to make it not fire anymore. Go wing stance, lightning, and we're good to go. Alright, so yeah, once again, storehouse back section. We're going to go west past the Grace. Ignore this ladder as well for now. You can loot this, and if you have any range attacks, maybe you can do it with melee, but you should be able to take these guys out without alerting Fire Knight. Otherwise, if you try to sneak straight up to him, they will start shooting you in the back with fireballs. Not a good time. Gotta fix my talisman too. Throw that on, there we go. Get the carry and thrusting shield from that corpse. And then we can go back and go up this ladder. And actually, wing stance is just maybe the worst thing I could have here for this next section. We're going to be doing some rafters. Way up high. Very, very high chance of falling. Alright, at the top of the very long ladder, backstab this guy, he should fall off the ledge, or if you want their armor, you could try just killing him normally so you don't lose the drop. So many runes in this area too. The Fire Knight drops over 8,000, it's so crazy. Go up this staircase and then crouch at the top. It's a Fire Knight. I'm just going to wait a second, let him pass so we can backstab him. Take your time, man. Don't worry, I have infinite hard drive space. Just record for as long as I want with absolutely no consequences. I was gonna backstab. I'm actually paranoid now. How much space do I have on my hard drive? I think we only lost one recording in the base walkthrough. 170 gigs left. Okay, that's probably enough to finish this episode. Believe it or not, that's cutting it a little closer than I would like to. These video files take up so much space, it's insane. Anyways, grab those fire coils, we're gonna run through here. Ghost Glove Wart 3, and this last room, get the Fire Serpent incantation, then you can turn around, and there's a hole we can jump outside. Out to the right, got some Shadow Sunflowers. Keep climbing up. Get a Blessed Bone Shard. This really is the new Arteria Leaf. You see a purple item, you get excited, and then boom. Blessed Bone Shard. Day ruined. They say comparison is the thief of joy, but I think it's purple items that turn out to be crafting materials. Once you have the grace, we'll go up this elevator up to the rafters I mentioned a second ago. And I guess if you're close to a level, it might be worth popping some golden runes so you don't fall and lose all your runes up here. But we're gonna go west as far as we can. A few bats up here to deal with. If you have any ranged abilities, that would be nice. Makes it a little less sketchy. Really almost stepped off the edge. Get some thin beast bones, backtrack a bit to this ladder we just passed. And then... Wait, am I stupid? No, okay. We're good. I mean, probably, but not for the reason I just thought I was. So we'll grab some smithing stones there, and then we're gonna go east towards this next bat. Keep going until you see a pillar that is kind of like blocking the way up there. You have to jump to get past it. We'll drop down this gear here. The Wrath from Afar incantation, aka x.com, formerly known as Twitter. And then we'll jump over here. Climb up the ladder, and depending on your build, this Fire Knight up here might be super annoying. He's going to spam the incantation we just picked up, and then also just their normal like delayed homing fireball attack. So if you have any ranged incantations or something, once again, now would be the time. Also that knocks you back, so make sure you take a few steps forward like I did. Otherwise you might get knocked off the edge right when you get to the top of the ladder. Down he goes. No drops, that's crazy. Alright, so once he's dead, go over here. Maybe take out the bat just to be safe. And then we'll go down this lift. Take you out. Get a rune of an unsung hero there by the edge. I've got the Fire Knight short sword, cool. And then we'll go back up the lift. And we will activate it, jump off to send it down. And we wait for this other one to come up. We're going to do the same thing. Activate it, send it back down. And then as this one's coming back up, we're going to drop onto the roof of it. Make a little jump over this ledge. Fire Knight I don't know, who cares. Spirit Ashes. And we'll go west down the ladder. Got the Smithing Stone 8s. Northeast a little ways down the next ladder. Thought there was a bat around here. I don't know why it's down here. I think it's usually up on that beam. Doesn't really matter. Once you're down here, come outside, out to the right, and we'll go down. Super scary elevator. I would not use this if this was real life. To be honest, if this was real life, I would have died long before reaching this point, but it's not important. So go down the stairs. This door's locked, can't do anything about that right now. We'll be back for it later though. For now, we just go down the lift. And we'll pick up the Shadow Keep back gate side of Grace, and then in this room over here to the right. Got a message. Shadow Tree fragments, and at the base of the statue, you can use the Oh Mother gesture that we picked up back in Bonnie Village. Where is it? I completely forgot what it looks like. There you go. And that'll make the statue slide out of the way and give you access to the hinterlands over here. I'm just going to do that whenever we do the hinterlands, so I can just like show you how to get there in that episode, make it less confusing for everyone. But you can go there and grab the first Grace right now if you want. There's no downside to doing that. Now, if you go through this big doorway directly in front of us, we'll be fighting another boss called Commander Gaius. After we kill him, we'll be able to grab 5 Shadow Tree fragments for free. Well, the price is killing him, which is easier said than done. But still kind of insane. We have 2 on us right now, right? Yes. So those extra 5 will let us get 2 more Shadow Tree blessing levels. So unless you just want an extra challenge with the main Shadow Keep boss here soon, there's really no reason not to fight this guy first, honestly. Now, he's pretty weak to holy damage. Lightning and fire seem to work pretty well too. Pure physical is a bit weaker since he's so heavily armored. You can use torrents in this fight. Whether or not that's a good option is going to heavily depend on you and what type of weapon you have, because the horseback moveset for some weapons is just absolutely horrendous. I'm not a fan of like thrusting swords of any kind on horseback, for instance, but it's totally up to you. I don't really have like a good strat personally for fighting this guy on horseback. I know some people like to do that because it's like a just horseback versus horseback, or I guess it's not technically horseback versus, but we're both riding some kind of creature. So it's like a jousting match, and some people like that style of fighting. So you can do it if you want to, is what I'm getting at. Now, he does have kind of an infamously hard to dodge charge, so if you're having a really hard time, or even, you know, you're just a regular person like me, you could always carry something with Bloodhound Step or Raptor the Mist or something like that to help with the horrible charge attack. It just has a huge hitbox. He's basically riding a hippo, like the one we fought. So that gives you an idea of what we're dealing with and why you might want to throw on Bloodhound Step or something. I would generally say staying on like the side of the boss is the best bet, because the boar's head is just really big and the boss itself has like a lance, so if you're next to the boar's head, it's going to swing at you, and the boss can probably reach you with his weapon, and it's really easy to just get like comboed to death super quickly. If you're behind it, you open yourself up to some rear kicks, but that's about it. It's not really easy to stay behind or to the side of the boss by any means, but directly in front is really just not where you want to be. Personally, I would recommend a Stone Barbed Cracked Tier for this and just heavily lean into a stance break in phase 1, because by the time the stance break happens, you should hopefully be close to, or it might just straight up send you into phase 2, and phase 2 usually starts with a very big like corkscrew gravity slam attack that, if you dodge it, has a decent window after it to counterattack. So between some free hits there and the crit from a stance break, you can take a big chunk out of his health in the span of a few seconds. So yeah, let's get to it. This is one of those fights that I just really am not very good at. I haven't really taken the time to get good at. One thing I like to do, it's a little hit or miss, is just charge right at him on torrent and use the iframes from jumping off torrent to avoid the charge. See, it didn't really quite work there, but it does definitely work sometimes. This combo is very dangerous. Lots of hits there, so just I like to just roll backwards for all of that and get as much distance as possible. I'm not getting a good vibe from this attempt so far. Like I said though, I think stance break is kind of king for this fight, so strength builds rejoice. Should go into phase 2 now, see if I can get one more free hit in here. Little gravity AoE, little mini Radon wannabe, top off my health here. He's gonna jump up, spin a few times, and we just roll straight into him. Get a couple free hits here. We get some more gravity attacks in this phase. There's the charge. I just suck at dodging it. Bloodhound Step is the way to go. Doesn't pull that one out very often, gonna be honest. Your rock's pretty easy to dodge if you're not stuck healing. That thing is gonna send out a few shockwaves. You wanna roll when you see the purple ring. Now, we're out of range of it now, so we're good. Uh-oh. Oh. Didn't like that. And down he goes. Pretty sloppy, but we at least got him in one try, so I'll take it. Get the Remembrance of the Wild Boar Rider, and you can trade that for the, oh, what's it called? I'm sure I wrote it down here, 1 second. Blades of Stone, Gravity Sorcery, which I'm sure you can figure out context of what you just saw, which one that is, or the Sword Lance weapon that he was using. So make sure you grab that. Actually, I would rest up, because there's a fight. One random fight. It's harder than a regular enemy, I guess, but not crazy. But if you only have 2 flasks, probably rest. So guy here northwest, up the hill, and then off to the left here you see those sheep or whatever. Ram, maybe. No, it's a sheep. Nailed it. Doesn't look like a Minecraft sheep, so a little lost. It's this mechanic I tried to show you guys in the base game I told you existed, but could never actually show you. Where the crippled albinaric women can ride direwolves. It's not on our side this time, but at least you can see that it works. So in the shack, got the Sharp Shot Talisman, and she will drop Gaius's Greaves. And then we go through this giant wall archway thing. I mean, what purpose does this realistically serve? The amount of effort and materials required to build such a structure? Or why? Anyway, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Shadow Tree fragments. Couple blessed bone shards around here too. And you got some shadow sunflowers around the area if you want to grab those as well. And with that, we are done here. So warp back to Main Gate Plaza where we fought the gold hippo. And we're gonna go through the west exit this time. Take out these 2 soldiers. Careful, this one coming down from the right. And again, be careful up here to the right. There's a guy that's going to jump out and stomp. Stab you. You're not sleeping. Or not dead, you are sleeping. Oh my god, that damage, dude. It's not even fair. Get a dagger, and then back out to the stairs. Go for these guys on the right first. And then we sneak over to the left. Whole bunch of red flesh mushrooms. I'm gonna go up here. Careful, there's a great bow guy in the back. Just get this guy's attention, then lure him down to this platform so you don't get knocked off the stairs. Has it ever happened to me? No. Yes it has. Good, man. This is unusual. Got places to be though, so can't wait around. So take him out. Over here by this window. Golden Vow consumable. Take you out. Shadow Realm Rune 6. Go outside next to the fireplace. We'll drop down to the left. Am I fat rolling? No, we're good. Smithing Stone 5s. Up down here. Around the tree, got the Talisman of Lord's Bestowal. A couple Blessed Bone Shards around the outside. I think this is the one does something after you drink. Yeah, increases poise after using a Flask of Tears. So, I don't know if anyone's found a cool way to use that yet. I feel like there's probably no reason to ever use that item though. Couple Smithing Stone 8s in there, and then we'll go to the other side of this courtyard. Unreal. Love it. Golden Vows. And then in here, quickly take out this Messmer soldier. There's another Black Steel Knight will come out of this other room. And some Smithing Stone 1s. So if you're just starting the game, fresh character, level 1, you need a few Smithing Stone 1s to get that first upgrade level or 2. I'd recommend just coming to Shadow Keep, right there. That's the strat for sure. Alright, so back into this room. We'll go outside for real this time, cross the bridge. And then off to the left, we got an item. Holy Proof Pickled Liver. Some Shadow Militia guys are gonna jump out here. Grab this item and then go down the stairs over here to the right. I kind of thought that was gonna happen. If you're low on heals, you should be able to just run straight through these guys. Use the iframes and open the door behind them. I'm doing just fine right now though. Some Drawstring Golden Grease. And a shortcut back to Main Gate Plaza. So if you need a rest, go ahead. Otherwise, let's just head right back up here. And up the ramp to the right will be 2 summon signs. It is decision time. There's a lot to unpack here, so pay attention. If you interact with the red sign, this will be summoned to assist Needle Knight Letta, so you're going to help Letta in invading and killing Hornsent. This will result in Hornsent dying, of course, and you'll get the Hornsent armor set and his curved sword, the Falx. Since he's dead, he's not going to appear anywhere later in the game. This option will also lock you out of getting the Ash of War Swift Slash, which is, if you're into PvP, you probably want that. It's pretty insane. Lots of people have been spamming that on the backhand blades, so I hear. I don't really PvP, but after you help Letta kill Hornsent, if you go with this option, go talk to her back at High Road Cross over here, and she'll give you the Lacerating Cross Tree, which is a talisman that buffs your running attacks. Since you helped Letta, her questline will continue, which I'll explain in a second, but first, if you interact with the yellow sign, you'll be summoned to help Hornsent in fighting Letta. You're not actually going to kill Letta by doing this, but defeating her in this fight will get you the Ash of War Swift Slash that I just talked about, and Letta's Rune, which is just a consumable item like any other, like, where is it? Yeah, these like weird ones like Marika's Rune sounds really cool, but it's just a consumable rune. It's not really special. So that's what Letta's Rune does. Where was I? So yeah, that's going to lock you out of Letta's questline since you're like betraying her and fighting against her, and any subsequent rewards you would get from Letta's questline, which includes the Lacerating Cross Tree Talisman I just mentioned, the Retaliatory Cross Tree Talisman, which enhances rolling and backstep attacks, and Ansbach's Longbow. Most people don't really use bows, so that's probably not going to hurt you too much, but it is something you'll miss out on. Since Hornsent will still be alive if you go this option though, you'll be able to summon him for the boss here in Shadowkeep, for the final boss, not for Commander Gaius we just did. And finally, you could just ignore both of the summon signs and both NPCs will just move on for now and we'll pretend this never happened, but that will lock you out of getting the Lacerating Cross Tree and the Ash of War Swift Slash, so I wouldn't really recommend that option. I'm just pointing out that their questlines won't end if you happen to miss this step. Those are the immediate implications. Unfortunately, it's not quite that simple because we'll have to deal with the consequences later on of whatever action we take here. So everything I just said still applies, but let's talk about what happens next depending on who you help here. If you assist Letta in killing Hornsent, the next time you speak to her, she's going to announce her next target, Sir Ansbach, who we like. Everyone loves Sir Ansbach. And that's going to eventually lead you to the same situation. You're going to have two summon signs on the ground, and you're going to have an option to help Letta kill Ansbach, or to help Ansbach kill Letta. For now, let's just assume you're committing to helping Letta. If you help her kill Sir Ansbach, you're going to get Ansbach's Longbow, Ansbach's armor set, and if you go talk to her at High Road Cross again, she'll give you that Retaliatory Cross Tree Talisman that does the enhanced backstep and rolling attacks. This is going to end Ansbach's questline because he dies. What's up, bud? There we go. And ending Ansbach's questline will lock you out of getting the Furious Blade of Ansbach incantation, as well as his other melee weapon, which I'll talk about later once we get to Ansbach options, or Ansbach's options. What am I trying to say? I will talk about the Ansbach options again separately when we get to it, because this is convoluted enough as it is. So right now, let's just keep this about Hornsent and Letta. If you betray Letta and side with Hornsent, like I said, Hornsent will appear at the final boss of Shadowkeep here soon to help you if you choose to summon him. However, his questline sucks, so here's what's going to happen. If you summon Hornsent for the boss here, he won't fight against you in that upcoming battle I mentioned in a previous episode where we have to fight against all of Miquella's remaining followers. So siding with Hornsent against Letta, or just ignoring both of them and then going on to summon Hornsent for the main Shadowkeep boss, will make him not appear in that fight later, which makes it easier for us, one less person to deal with. Instead, he's going to invade us on his own somewhere else, which is easy enough to handle because it's a 1v1. We're going to get his armor set and the Falk's Curved Sword, the same rewards we would get for killing him here, so you don't really miss out on any Hornsent rewards. However, if we don't summon him to help us with the boss here in Shadowkeep, he will end up on the enemy team, which will obviously make that fight a little bit harder, one more person to deal with. Really annoying, but the important thing to know is that you have to summon him for the boss fight here in Shadowkeep if you don't want him showing up against you in the team fight later. There's no way to actually get him on your side. So, goes without saying, but you'll have to do 2 playthroughs to get all the rewards from these questlines. I'm going to not side with Letta for this playthrough because she'll kill off 2 NPCs that we would otherwise be able to continue seeing progress throughout the rest of the DLC, and no matter who you help, you'll end up fighting Letta in the end anyway, since she's completely loyal to Miquella. Obviously, side with her here if you want the rewards associated with that, but betraying her gets you the better story in my opinion. So, I am going to assist Hornsent. It's a lot to explain. If that was confusing, let me know in the comments. I'll try to clear up whatever question you have. Letta also has a light greatsword, but unfortunately, I'm the Light Greatsword King, aka Wingstance Enjoyer. There we go.
Interfere not with my business. Sir, do not interfere. This is my revenge.
So, get sent back to your world where you should get the Ash of War Swift Slash and Letta's Rune. And be careful because you might spawn back up on the bridge where there's a Fire Knight patrolling. He's all the way over there, so we're good. Just be aware of that. There are your 2 rewards. Grab those bone darts and let's keep going here. Take out the rest of the militiamen. Rod of Fruits. Silver Pickled Foulfoot. One more. I think I don't see you. And lastly, some Smithing Stone 8s. And then we'll just do this right now. It's kind of like the statue situation from earlier, where debating just showing you this in another episode, but I don't know. It's not like just right next to a grace like the statue was, so run along this path until you get the Somber Smithing Stone 8 there, and then we'll backtrack and go behind this waterfall. And be careful, because if you miss this ladder, it's a very long fall. It's not going to feel good. So go down the ladder the safe way. Okay, that was weird. And then this next room. Get the Domain of Dragons painting, and then Illusory Wall here. It's funny, I was talking to a friend about this recently. I forget that if you play online, like most people do, there are just billions of messages spoiling where every illusory wall is. And I never play online because I only play this game anymore to record, basically. So in my mind, it's like, oh, cool, I discovered this illusory wall. And everyone else is like, obviously that's there. Everyone knows that's there. So, get in the coffin, go through the cutscene. And then after the cutscene, you will get another cutscene, apparently. And then just go straight forward, and there's Grace up ahead. Castle Watering Hole side of Grace. Touch it so we can come back to it later, and this is outside the scope of Shadowkeep, so we'll leave this alone for another episode. Instead, warp back to Main Gate Plaza. And we'll go through here. Backtrack to where we just did the invasion. Nice. Love that. Yeah, so Shadowkeep basically gives us access to all the rest of the areas we haven't been able to reach yet. It's kind of cool, and also why I chose to put it off for so long. I struggled enough trying to decide what order to clear the DLC zones, but trying to just do everything we could do before Shadowkeep narrowed it down a little bit. That helped out. From another perspective, though, it's pretty nice that it works like this, because that means you can just rush through Shadowkeep in the future and have access to pretty much anything in the DLC pretty quickly. Let's go up here. This deal with the old Fire Knight. Nice. New drip. So this is going to lead us to that storehouse that we've been to before, and where we will be spending the rest of this episode. So grab that Grace. Take this guy out, and then we'll go into this first room on the left. The Rune Arc. Just gonna ignore that guy. And we'll go down this lift. Go to this last room to the west. Nice. I knew he was going to do that, and for some reason I just thought this time would be different. A gold pickled foulfoot, and then backtrack to a hallway we just passed over here. Watch on the left for a jar innards enemy. Take them out. Grab the Ash of War Wall of Sparks from the railing there. Keep going. Another jar innards on the stairs. Nice. And then ignore the stairs for a second. Between these two candles, got an illusory wall. The Battlefield Priest Cookbook 4. I think that's the last one for that collection off the top of my head. I could be wrong, but I'll put it on the screen, obviously. A couple more enemies in here to deal with. And then we just start clearing out this room. They're so strong. Don't do that. It's gross. Ugh. It's so unsatisfying to fight jars with like a sword. It just feels like you're doing nothing to them. Hop up here, grab our 10th and final hefty cracked pot. Iris of Grace, and we should now have 2 Irises of Grace and 2 Irises of Occultation, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so once again, you can take those to either Fire Knight Queeline or Yolan back at the Cathedral of Messmer. If you give either of them an Iris of Occultation, you'll get their weapon. Give either of them the Grace, Iris of Grace, you'll get their Spirit Ashes. 1 reward from each per playthrough, but you can get both weapons in 1 playthrough if you want, or both ashes, or 1 of each. Up to you. Not sure, I don't really remember if I will bring that up again in the walkthrough, so that's just kind of a whenever you get around to seeing them again kind of thing. I did mention last time that we're probably going to keep working on Yolan's quest before you have the opportunity to give her either of those, but you can go over and see Fire Knight Queeline here at any point. So, that is the West Rampart Grace that's going to get us over to Ancient Rao Ruins when we're ready to do that. That's also the last path out of Shadowkeep to get to another region we haven't been to. And as you may have noticed, you don't even need to defeat the main boss here to get to any of those exits. Very convenient. So, for now though, let's keep focusing on Shadowkeep. We're back to Storehouse first floor. Go to the right this time. It's fireproof pickled liver. What's your problem, man? Axe stab that guy, and then we can jump on this wooden thing he was hiding behind. Over here, up again. Make a couple of weird jumps to get on top of this tail. And climb on top of this specimen to get a revered spirit ash, and then you can jump down to the northeast. Ow. Go up here, off to the right. Fire coil. Some kukri, and then down the stairs here to the right. hefty beast bones, and speak to Sir Ansbach in the corner.
There was one so. It appears it's been taken. Surely you, after fate, I do any. What the implication?
Alright, so once you exhaust his dialogue, go back outside to the right. Take you out, I guess. There's gonna be some enemies next to the staircase. Take them out and then ignore the staircase for right now. Sneak over here, you should be able to get behind the Fire Knights. Get some smithing stone 8s. And a whole bunch of stuff from him, wow. Now we can go up the stairs. And we're going to follow this wooden path here all the way to the right as far as we can go. Just ignore everyone. Take some fire here, that's alright. Some smithing stone 5s, and then jump over here. Get the Bolt Drake Talisman +3. And then in the northwest corner over here, you can pull this lever. Move the bookshelf out of the way. If you stand in the corner, the fire shouldn't be able to reach you. Member of Messmer. And we're right back where we dropped off that statue earlier. So we'll backtrack a little bit, get back to those stairs we just climbed up a second ago. Go up the stairs to the left. Get some black fireflies. Try to sneak up on this knight over here. I feel like this one turns around, yeah. Oh, golden eyes. You're going to give me a lot of runes. $40,000, dude. Love to see it. Another helmet. Get some beast horns, and then... Where was I? Yeah, go up either staircase. Either side, doesn't matter. To get to the 3rd floor, we're going to go through this doorway to the west first. Golden eyes. This one's going to give me not a lot of runes. 8,500 still. It's not horrible. It's no 40,000 though. We've been spotted. Take you out. Get some more beasts or another beast horn. And then, if you come back outside here, there's this Fire Knight here, right? I heal up. Now, even though... Stop it. Even though we're attacking him, we're gonna name him. Alright, so this is now Randy. He's Randy because we'll have to come back to this spot later. And if we don't call him Randy, you'll forget. So this is Randy, and we'll come back for Randy later. He's just napping right now. But for now, let's go up here, jump down to the southeast. Get a blessed bone shard. Good thing my day was already ruined, because that would have done it for sure. Frill calling finger remedy, and there's just a ton of militia guys over here. Sit. I thought that bench was another one. So clear out these guys, get a lump of flesh, and then if you don't see a Fire Knight, sneak and go left because he patrols clockwise. Just take whatever opportunity you can to get the jump on these guys, right? Drops. Beast Horn. And then we can backtrack to this bridge we were just on. And we'll jump off the railing to the right on this little support thing. Grab the dueling shield, and then jump back up. And onto the feet of this hanging statue thing. Climb it all the way up here. One last jump. The shadow tree fragments. Make sure to touch the cross. Storehouse cross message. And the grace. And I haven't bumped up my blessing level yet, but we've got 2 after the Commander Gaius fights. Some revered spirit ashes to hand in too. Good to go. So go outside here. Turn right for some Stormhawk feathers. Turn around. Go up the stairs. These stairs. Just run straight ahead to kill this Fire Knight. Grab the black fireflies next to the stairs once you can. That guy. And see a couple bats there. Take him over to you. Kill him. And we'll go down these stairs, take out these guys. Next to the stairs, Shadow Realmer in 5. And we'll come into this room. Holy Proof Pickled Liver off to the left, and then this back right corner, behind the bookshelf, you got the secret right scroll, which we'll need for Ansbach and Freya's quest here soon. They come back up here. That's where the bats just were. And a couple are going to fly down from above, so just be aware of that. Deal with all them. Embers of Messmer there by the ledge. And then we go inside. We go left first. Smithing Stone 6 is there at the end. Backtrack, go the other way. And behind this first bookshelf on the right. Take you out. Get some fire coils. Around the corner up here is going to be a Fire Knight. Get these Smithing Stone 7s it was guarding. Keep moving. Just don't like you guys. Stairs, Silver Pickled Foulfoot, and then you can go in this room up ahead. And make sure you kill these guys because they can heal the Fire Knight, which is not cool. We hear Freya talking upstairs, which is kind of creepy. Spirit Calculus, another helmet, that's actually insane. And then when you go back out, there should be another Fire Knight patrolling. Oh, he's all the way down there. Same thing here, these guys can heal him, so can take him out, that would be ideal. Or just kill him faster than that can be an issue. And we'll go up the stairs. With the corpse here for a couple slivers of meat. Grab the grace. And speak to Redmane Freya.
I'm afraid I'm
Just exhaust her dialogue.
I'm truly
Alright, so now that we found her and gotten that secret right scroll, we can go back to the first floor. So we're back to Storehouse first floor, and we'll go see Ansbach again. Now, important note here, I don't think I've tested it myself. Just the way that the menu's set up, it's not usually an issue, but you want to make sure that you give him the secret right scroll first, apparently. I have heard of people having some difficulties with like messing this quest line up, apparently, if you do this out of order. So I'll show you here in a second what I'm talking about, but just run on through here. I don't think anything will follow you in this room. That's not the right turn. No, I'm actually completely lost. I passed it. Now we might have an issue. This is the room we want. Let's see if they follow. Nah, giving up. What about you? You gonna be a problem? Alright, we'll just deal with you. Okay. Now then, for Ansbach. Talk to him. You can see first option here is hand over the secret right scroll. That's what I was saying. It's not usually an issue for me because it's the first dialogue option anyway. So make sure you hand over the scroll before you tell him about Freya's decision. And just keep talking to him until you can mention Freya's decision again. There we go. And then he should give you the letter for Freya. Like so, and just keep talking to exhaust his dialogue. Okay, so now we can warp back to the 7th floor. And before you speak to Freya, allow me to explain your options here. If you give her the letter from Ansbach, she will give you her golden lion shield right now and continue her quest, which entails fighting against us in the team fight later on, unfortunately. If you go that route, you'll be able to get her great sword and armor after that fight. If you don't give her the letter right now, her quest line essentially just ends right here. She's just going to stay in the storehouse for the rest of the DLC, which means she's not going to appear in the fight later, which will make it easier for you. If you come back to this spot after you kill the final boss, you can grab the golden lion shield here from where she was sitting, but you won't be able to get her weapon or armor if you go this route. So personally, I would just give her the letter, even though it makes an upcoming fight slightly harder, because you do get more rewards out of it. And Freya's chill.
Give my regard. Tell him to face your bow would be.
Alright, so there we go. With those steps done, Sir Ansbach should also move on from Shadowkeep. If we were to go back down to the first floor again, into the room we were just at to talk to him, he should be gone. However, if you sided with Leda or just ignored the summon signs earlier, then she will still be targeting Ansbach. So if you return to where he was standing, you're going to find a red sign and a gold sign once again, like I explained earlier. So here we go, explaining this complex situation again. But keep in mind, this is only if you sided with Leda earlier. So if you sided with Hornsent, like I did, you can ignore what I'm about to say. So if you use the red sign to side with Leda again in this next fight, you're going to kill Ansbach, ending his questline, obviously. You're going to get Ansbach's longbow and his armor sets. If you go back to High Road Cross after that to speak to Leda, you'll also get the retaliatory cross tree talisman that I explained earlier. And this is going to lock you out of getting the Furious Blade of Ansbach incantation, and you also will not be able to summon him for the last 2 boss fights in the game. If you use the golden sign and help Sir Ansbach, you decide to turn around and fight against Leda this time, you're going to fight Leda, obviously, and you also get Ansbach's longbow, but not his armor set, and you're going to be locked out of getting the retaliatory cross tree talisman from Leda. However, if you help him and allow him to keep living, you can still get his armor and his other weapon, a scythe called the Obsidian Lamina, at the end of the DLC. So I would recommend keeping him alive if you haven't played through the DLC before, and then next time, unless one of those rewards from Leda just really speaks to you. But yeah, next time you can do it differently and get the other rewards you haven't seen before. And once again, if you choose to just ignore these signs and do nothing, both the NPCs will continue on their way, but you're going to be locked out of getting Ansbach's longbow and the retaliatory cross tree talisman still. And yeah, you'll have to do 2 playthroughs to get all those rewards. If you do side with Letta, though, just remember to go back to High Road Cross and talk to her after the fight to get your talisman. Same goes for if you help her kill Hornsent. Just go see her at High Road Cross right afterward to get your reward. So, with that, let's exit this room that Freya is in and go east. Got another Fire Knight to deal with, unfortunately. So sad. Come on, dude. Where's my poise? Is like... Why can't like 3 spins be enough? Why do we have to do like 7? I'm so glad these guys are only in Shadowkeep, because I cannot stand fighting them. So back here, we'll jump on this hanging specimen, get a revered spirit ash, drop down, clear out this room. Ember of Messmer, Shadow Realm Rune 5, and pull the lever that's going to move this whole apparatus in the middle. Kill you two just because I'm a hater. And then we can run over here and jump to this beam that we can now reach. Use this to climb over to this. All the way to the top. One last jump to this little balcony. And you'll be in this room with a Stake of Marika. And then go up here to the right first. Take these 2 guys out into this next room on the right. Few more Embers of Messmer. And then this guy is a little more intense than a normal Fire Knight, but take him out all the same. Insane. Jumping over that was so sick. Alright, so drop him for the Winged Serpent Helm and the Ash of War Flame Spear, and then you can open the doors behind him. To get another Erdtree fragment, which should get us up to level 15 now. We're going to go upstairs and activate the Dark Chamber entrance side of Grace. Do not go into the next room yet. It's obviously a boss fight, but I need to explain a couple of important things before we start it. 2 more quick things first, though. First, go back downstairs. Cross the bridge again. And this guy over here, who may or may not still be in your game, just staring over the ledge. If you look over that ledge, you can drop down. There's a giant bat. And the Impenetrable Thorns sorcery. So next, you probably thought I forgot about him, but we're going to go see Randy. There are a couple ways you can do this. You can warp back to... where is it? There it is. Storehouse. Start over. Give me a second. Pause. Collect my thoughts. Storehouse. 4th floor. Warp back there. You can make kind of a sketchy jump over the railing to the right, and you'll land in the room with a shadow guy and a Fire Knight and a bunch of militiamen nearby that we cleared earlier. It's definitely faster distance-wise, but you might have to do a lot of fighting, so it's probably easier to just go to the 1st floor. So that's what we're going to do. From the 1st floor, Grace. Just gonna go left and follow the path up the stairs. And over here to the right, up some more stairs. Left. Just keep going upstairs wherever you see stairs. If you run, you shouldn't have to fight anyone else. And then sneak. Don't. Oh, I hate you, Randy. Alright. Put Randy out of his misery. He's not napping this time. He is deceased. Over here, since we moved all those statues when we pulled the lever, we can now reach the Pearl Drake Talisman +3. So, with that, we're back to Dark Chamber entrance. Alright, so, fair warning, this is your last chance to go back and do the Horn Scent versus Letta fight if you still wanted to for some reason. Activating this fight will move Horn Scent up here, which leads me to the important thing I wanted to explain a minute ago. Also, we should have enough fragments, like I said, for another blessing upgrade if you rest here, so let's do that before I forget. There we go, level 15. So, inside this fight, there are 2 summon signs. Since they're inside the boss fight and not outside, outside the fog like normal ones, they have a couple of unique properties. First of all, they will not increase the boss's health bar when summoned from inside the arena. Second, and most importantly, they will activate on a single touch. There's not going to be a prompt that pops up asking if you want to summon them. Just touch the sign once and the NPC will be on their way. That's important to know because you can only summon one of them. The NPCs are Horn Scent if he's still alive and you've been doing his quest, or Yolan from Ymir's quest, which we haven't done much of, but going to the first finger ruin and ringing the bell and then reporting back to Ymir and speaking to Yolan will make her like you enough to help with this fight, which is kind of wild, but I didn't design this, so who cares. Now here's the thing. Yolan doesn't really have any real stake in this fight, so it doesn't affect her questline at all. Horn Scent, on the other hand, killing this boss is his entire life's purpose right now. He needs it. It's everything. So, as I explained earlier, summoning Horn Scent here and letting him help with killing this boss will result in him moving forward on his own, and later on he'll invade us on his own, where we can get his armor and weapons. But he'll be dead after that, which means he won't show up for the team fight later, which makes our life easier. However, if we don't summon him, he doesn't get to exact his revenge here, makes him very sad, and the next time we see him, he will be fighting against us among other enemy NPCs in the team fight. So you have to summon him here for this fight to finish his quest. There are no rewards or repercussions for summoning Yolan here other than the fact that it prevents you from summoning Horn Scent, which will result in things I just explained. So if you just don't care about Horn Scent, go ahead and summon Yolan, but otherwise probably not the best idea. Anyway, as for the actual Messmer fights, roll forward. Please, for the love of God, just roll forward. It's that simple. You know when you fight an NPC that wields a spear and they just run you down no matter how hard you try to retreat? Like you can roll backwards 100 times, run away, but they just keep charging and catch you with the spear no matter what? Okay, hold on to that image, put a pin in it. Now you know when you're fighting Moog, and he does that blood claw attack where he swipes the air and then it explodes a second later, and you always accidentally roll away from the swipe, which makes the explosion catch you every time? Okay, cool. Now combine those two feelings into one and multiply it by 10. That's Messmer. So between the range he has on all of his spear pokes to the medium range fire spam, he is going to roll catch you if you try to go backwards and get distance. So as scary as it may be, you just have to make getting behind him your #1 priority. With the Shadow Tree Blessing level we currently have, you definitely have more than enough damage to cut through Messmer pretty quickly. This fight should not be too bad. If you can get a couple stance breaks during the fight, it'll really be over before you know it. Now, I think it goes without saying, if you've seen this boss before, that fire is not going to work against this guy. He seems to resist holy damage quite a bit too, but then in phase 2 he's actually super weak to it. Or not super weak to it, but he at least doesn't resist it whatsoever. You could use the Flame Drake Talisman +3 if you're just taking a ton of damage. That's obviously going to help minimize the fire damage you take. And mixing some kind of stamina-related tier into your Wondrous Physic could also be useful for learning the fight, because his combos seem overwhelming at first. Or seem so overwhelming at first, they'll probably be spam rolling a lot. However, personally, I think Stone Barbed Cracked here plus something that boosts your damage somehow are the way to go. You can really just fly through phase 1 with a good stance break and crits. Another option would be, aside from the Stone Barbed Cracked here, aside, if you pair that with something that increases damage, you could drop the damage increase and go with the Opaline bubble tier, because the boss is always going to start the fight with a flying slam, immediately followed by an explosion. It takes a little bit of practice to get the timing down, but you can dodge both by just rolling one after the other. Same thing in phase 2. He's going to start with a very similar attack where he jumps at you and then a slightly delayed explosion happens. But that bubble tier will help if you mess up the timing so you don't just get your health chunked immediately. One last thing, since this is the first time we're doing this fight, when we open this door, it's just going to trigger the cutscene immediately. On subsequent attempts, you will, so I'm telling you that, so you should probably buff and do whatever you need to do right now. But on subsequent attempts, when you go through, you're going to spawn right here in the doorway, rather than, like, further into the room. You're going to spawn further into the room this time since it's your first time. So the summon signs are actually going to be behind you. So when we turn around and face the exit, so why am I making this confusing? When you're in this room up ahead, this door is going to be behind us, right? So we're going to turn around and face the door. And then Horn Sense sign should be over to the right, because it's behind us. But every other attempt, you're just going to walk through this door, and Horn Sense sign will be the first one immediately on your left. Alright, so if you don't want to summon for the first time, just to like make sure you get the right one, that's fine. But I've yapped long enough. Let's get to it. You can see a summon sign there right when I open the door too. I'm gonna skip the cutscene, unfortunately. I love it, but roll. Alright, so now try to get over here. Yeah, Horn Sense sign. See, I'm just trying to roll forward as much as I can here. Staying close to him, behind him when possible. Alright, so I will talk about that again when I'm not on 1 HP and freaking out. It's like his main combo. So let's see if we can bait that out again. Does that slam after the shorter combo, you don't have to worry about all the spears coming up out of the ground. It's catching me every time. Do the thing. That's a grab attack, that's gonna hurt a lot. Please do your combo. I'm like trying not to hit him because I just want to see him do it before phase 2. Here we go. Oh, never mind. That's not it. That's the short one again. Bro. You know what? Okay. I had a feeling this might happen. I'm going to reset the fight, and I'm going to show you guys it without Horn Scent first. I'm going to do it with Horn Scent ultimately so I can continue doing his questline, but this is why I don't summon in the walkthrough, dude. Like, the boss won't look at me. It's nice because I just have so much breathing room to heal and do whatever I need to do. Like, it's night and day with a summon. It's crazy how different this game is when you summon. But I just can't show you guys the boss fight if there's someone else in there. This is actually crazy. I've genuinely been at this for like 10 minutes. You guys won't see all the attempts, but like, the 2 times he's done it, I just wasn't ready for it. And he won't do it again. Here we go. Jumps over you. You roll under him again. He's gonna not even hit you with that slam, and you just save your roll for the spears coming out. So, the big, crazy, acrobatic fire attack, right, that he starts with. And then he's gonna jump behind you, and you look at him, and he's gonna try to do like that huge flurry of stabs, right? But you roll behind him on that one too, so that those miss you overhead, and then he goes up again for that big slam, And if he's right on top of you, he's pretty much always going to miss you. Like 99% of the time, I don't even have to roll that. And then you roll through when the spears when they all come out of the ground at the end, right? It's a very intense, very overwhelming looking attack, but it's actually pretty simple to dodge. Just make sure that you're staying underneath him basically as much as you can. That was the thing I really wanted to show. So we'll go in here again, do this for real, summon Horn Scent, buff up, all that good stuff, try to get a stance break. But yeah, he just was not doing that attack for some reason. It was very strange. Grab Horn Sense. Roll. Some charged heavies. But that hit me because I'm a bot. Stance break. Already almost in phase 2. There you get like a third-person perspective of that move too, or bird's eye view or something. Actually, neither of those terms is correct, but there we go. Around half health. Get to phase 2. A really cool cutscene. I'm unfortunately going to skip this one too, but before I do, remember he's going to start with a similar attack. This time it's going to be a fire orb and a snake's mouth. It'll look a little different, but it's going to slam down and immediately follow up with an explosion again, right? Just like at the beginning of the fight. And then from now on, anytime he's like jumping at you as a giant snake, his actual body is inside the snake's head. So start attacking the snake's head as soon as you dodge it, because you're going to have a second to hit him before he actually like rematerializes and can counterattack, all right? And then there's a couple other things in this fight, like really big snake attacks I'll try to point out. Sometimes he just will come at you with like one giant snake, but other times it'll be like a whole thing where he summons just all kinds of giant snakes. For that one, you're going to want to run away because it's going to make it way easier to see when the snakes are actually attacking you, and it's just a matter of timing and practice, but not having to fight the camera while you dodge them is going to make all the difference. So here we go. Dodge the explosion, and then he's here, so just swing. Here come all the snakes. Run away to dodge that first cluster, and then you can see the rest of the snakes, the other 3, come at you a lot easier if you get distance from that first spit, right? Dodge that. He can also just kind of use that ability to like reposition. But other than the snakes, I mean, this phase 2 is really just the same thing. That might actually kill me and I'm gonna be sad. I think we're okay. Alright. We're good though. I've said all I need to say, man. Yeah, trying to talk and play Elden Ring at the same time is just not the move, man. Just pick one.
Messmer! My blade out.
There we go. Stay underneath him. That's a little different. We're stuck on the railing, so he was definitely gonna land on us with the slam there, but you still see it's not too hard to time, and just be ready for the spears coming out after that one. Always do, I swear. Oh, we just got a stance break too. Unfortunate. I can't remember if his poise resets between phases, but I feel like it doesn't, so that stance break actually kind of hurts us. Again, when he goes in that big, sort of like telegraphed wind-up for the snake attack, where he just starts like sort of melting, that's when you want to get some distance. Like this. That's not actually the big one, but still a snake attack. Stay on your toes. There you go. You see the timing is at least consistent with the snakes. It's just really hard to see. It's got 3 attacks. Snake here. You know, he looks different, but just trust your gut. The moveset's pretty much the same as phase 1. You're able to dodge in phase 1, you can dodge in phase 2. I can't dodge that attack in phase 1, so that's my defense. There's this attack again. Same as usual. Wind up the charged heavies when he does that. Oh, this is the big one. Not good. Can't see anything. Pulling out this move again. Stay composed. No, every time, dude. Like over 5 on the grabs today. And down he goes. Harder than it need to be. It's funny, like, I would say I'm actually, like, that's, like, my best fight in the DLC, I think. Like, usually I just can steamroll Messmer, but, like, I haven't practiced fighting him while actually talking, and I just forget, like, how fast he is. I have to just constantly change the subject, I feel like, and what I'm talking about, but really important here. You get the Remembrance of the Impaler and Messmer's Kindling, which we'll need to progress the story and reach the area where the final boss is. You want to rest at the graves once and only once. Get back up immediately and talk to Hornsent. You notice he died in that fight, and he's still here. Hornsent does not have to survive. Just keep that in mind. If you summoned him, he'll be standing here and be happy. If you didn't summon him, he'll be on the ground rather upset. The only time I missed him here was by accidentally resting twice on my first playthrough. I went on and beat the DLC before I had a chance to test this, but I have heard that if he's missing here, if you didn't or you didn't have a chance to talk to him, he goes back to High Road Cross, so maybe check that if you messed up here, but I'm not sure. So we'll talk to him here, exhaust his dialogue. Alright, so we're good here, and that is it for Shadow Keep. Very long dungeon, but pretty cool, I think. There's one more thing we can do now that Hornsent got his revenge, and that is go speak to Hornsent Grandam. So go warp to Small Private Altar back in Bellarat. Go outside here to the left. And speak with her until you get an item called the Gourmet Scorpion Stew. And then keep going to exhaust her dialogue. There we go, and then we're gonna go back and rest of the grace one more time. and you'll find another gourmet scorpion stew next to her. And that is it for her quest line. So, as for the next couple episodes, we have access to really everything in the map now through the various exits of Shadow Keep. We can get to Ancient Ra Ruins over here, this whole green area to the west. Like I said earlier, that's the main path of progression, leads to the final area of the DLC, so we'll save that for last. And there's no harm whatsoever in going there and even clearing it out if you want to. If you know there's an item or something there that you want, I'm just going to be doing it later. Through the hidden statue over here, or the hidden pathway behind the Statue of America, we unlocked just before Commander Gaius. We can get to the hinterlands over here to the east. That's another option. That stone coffin took us down to the castle watering hole, so we can go down this way and eventually reach the Abyssal Woods. And we still have Count Emir's questline to finish, as well as Egon and the Jagged Peaks. So there's a lot of options, but that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you found that useful, and I will see you next time.